Hi, everyone, and thanks for checking out this movie review. So, today we'll be continuing with the current horror franchise, which is Friday the 13th, that I've been taking a look at for the month of August here. And today we are up to the 10th film, believe it or not, in the franchise, and that, of course, is Jason X. So, that's the film that we'll be taking a look at today. Be giving my thoughts and review, which will contain spoilers. But first, I'll go ahead and go through sort of the setup and the premise of this movie. So, Jason X, or Jason 10, is a 2001 American science fiction slasher film directed by Jim Isaac and written by Todd Farmer. It stars Lexa Doig, Lisa Ryder, Chuck Campbell, and Kane Hodder in his fourth straight installment, playing Jason Voorhees. It's the 10th installment in the Friday the 13th franchise, and the first one since 1993's Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday. This film, once again, is distributed by New Line Cinema, just as Jason Goes to Hell was. In this film, Jason is cryogenically frozen for 445 years and awakens in 2455 after being fought by a group of students whom he subsequently stalks and kills one by one. While other films of the franchise approach Jason as a human serial killer or undead monster, this movie views him through a science fiction lens and has him transformed by future technology into a cyborg. Sound interesting? So the movie basically opens in 2008. Mass murderer Jason Voorhees is captured by the United States government and held at the Crystal Lake Research Facility. After numerous failed attempts to kill Jason over the following 2 years, government scientist Rowan LaFontaine suggests putting him in a cryogenic stasis. Dr. Wimmer and Sergeant Marcus arrive with soldiers hoping to further research Jason's ability to heal from lethal wounds, as they believe it involves rapid cellular regeneration and can be replicated. Jason breaks free of his restraints and kills the soldiers and Wimmer. Rowan lures him into a cryogenic pod and activates it, but he ruptures the pod with his machete, stabbing her in the abdomen. Cryogenic fluid spills into the sealed room, freezing them both. So then we cut to 445 years later. Earth has become too polluted to support life, and humans have moved to a new planet, Earth 2. On a field trip to Earth, Professor Brandon Lowe and his android companion KM-14, intern Adrian Thomas, and students uh, San- Chasanarin, Janessa, Azrael, Kinsa, Waylander, and Stoney explore the abandoned Crystal Lake Research Facility, finding the frozen Jason and Rowan. They bring them aboard the spaceship, the Grendel, and revive Rowan while leaving Jason in a morgue, believing he is dead. Yeah, I couldn't pronounce that first name. It's a student, Sanaran, to Saranaran with a T. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it really matters. So yeah, that's kind of as much as I'm gonna. That's kind of how the movie starts and what it goes into. You can imagine Jason's not really dead. I mean, hopefully you probably figured out that without me having to tell you. The cast of the movie: Kane Hodder, of course, who plays Jason Voorhees. Alexa Doig is Rowan Doig or Doig Doig. I think it's Doig as Rowan LaFontaine. Lisa Ryder's KM-14. Chuck Campbell is just Saranaron Payton, however you pronounce it. Melissa Aid is Janessa Zachary. Peter Mensa is Sergeant Elijah Brodsky. And Melanie Johnson is Kira or Kinsa Cooper. So yeah, that's sort of the premise and the setup and the cast of Jason X. Once again, it was a 2001 American science fiction slasher film, but I think it was actually released in theaters in general in 2002, if I'm not mistaken. But it is a 2001 film that was released in 2002. Once again, directed by Jim Isaac. So Jason X is one of those movies that's highly debated in the franchise, just like there are a few of the movies, especially in the second half of the franchise. A lot of people either hate it and despise it and say it's the worst of the franchise, it's an abomination. And then you get some people that love it and actually have it ranked in their top five or seven, even. So, yeah, as far as my thoughts about it, I think the best way to view this movie is to view it for fun and not take it seriously. if you view this movie seriously going into it, you're not going to like it. Um, this movie's they made it for fun, and that's kind of how you have to watch it. So I'll just kind of go through my pros and cons. It's a very mixed bag. I have a lot of both, so bear with me here. As far as the pros go, like I was just mentioning, the movie doesn't take itself or the concept of it too seriously. It knows what it is, and therefore it works well enough if you go in with that mindset to watch it. I think the reason that it's so divided among fans is because half the fans they take these movies more seriously. I'm not really sure why. I've never really taken any of them seriously, the first 10 anyway, so far. Um, but this movie you really can't take seriously. There's a few other ones that you could, and then I think the other half just kind of view it like I do, which is just a fun sort of shtick, schlocky sort of sci-fi B movie with Jason. But yeah, the movie knew what it was. It didn't try to be serious, um, which was definitely to its benefit. You got to talk about Kane Hodder once again, playing Jason for the fourth time. He plays sort of the traditional version of Jason with the regular hockey mask, and then the what most fans call the Uber version of Jason, where he gets the upgrades and becomes sort of a cyborg. And Kane Hodder once again is really good in his role. Um, I really like him in this one, and I think Jason Takes Manhattan are probably his best two of the four, although he's great in all four of them. So sadly, this is the last time he would play Jason, at least up to 2021. I don't know if he'll ever don the hockey mask again. But yeah, he's really good and helps move this movie along well. Um, I think Rowan as the final girl, played by Lexi Doig, is really solid. She's really a badass, especially at the beginning of the movie. But even throughout the movie, she's the one that knows the most about Jason, that doesn't take any BS. Just a really badass when it comes to confronting him, as well as anybody else that thinks that he's not that bad or not to take him too seriously. So I really liked Rowan. She's pretty easy on the eyes, too. I just have to throw that in there. Um, I like the fact they had a new setting in space, sort of the space station that most of the movie takes place. It's a nice change at this, especially at this point of the franchise. I mean, out of the first nine movies, six or seven of them have taken place at Camp Crystal Lake, and even a couple others that moved Jason from Camp Crystal Lake. You still see Camp Crystal Lake at some point in the movie, so it was good to really get him away, I guess, from Camp Crystal Lake. So I like that again that they tried something different and didn't just go back to Camp Crystal Lake as usual. They get credit for that. I like when a franchise with so many movies like this does something different. And I thought it was an interesting idea and setting. That doesn't mean it's completely logical, not by any means, or not everything works with it. But they tried something different. The kills are really fun and creative in this movie, and that makes this movie watchable and fun, in my opinion. The best kills, there's two of them that really stand out. One where Jason knocks the guy over the railing and he falls on like the corkscrew thing and sort of corkscrews his way down. That was a really fun kill. And then, of course, the one everybody talks about where he dips the blonde's head in the cryogenic freeze when he comes back to life, freezes her face and then smashes it into red slush, basically, with the blood. And speaking of that, it has some decent blood and gore. Not a lot, not the most in the series, but certainly more than like seven and eight, a couple of the more recent films. Probably not as much as Jason Goes to Hell. That movie really had the gore and the blood, but it's pretty decent. This movie has good pacing, which is important. That this movie wasn't too long because I think it's 86 minutes, if I remember right, just about an hour and a half or a little bit less. And that's what you want from a movie like this. It's just kind of fun and not taken too seriously. It doesn't make you think too much. To me, it's the right length, not too long, and that makes it fun and watchable. So pretty good pacing. So yeah, those are kind of my pros for the movie Jason X. I'll get into some cons that I have. The first one you got to talk about is the CGI. This is a movie that they really used the computer generated images, and God, it's some of the worst I've ever seen in movies before, and it really dates this movie really badly. I mean, the movie's from the early 2000s, and frankly, some of the movies made 20 years before that in the early 80s age better than this movie does. So yeah, that's not great. Really bad CGI. The characters, aside from Rowan and of course Jason by Kane Hodder, are flat out awful. And I know I've said that about a few movies, but this might take the cake so far anyway. They're just it's just awful. badly written, badly acted, and it really drags down the movie more than it could have had you had at least a few likable characters that were well written. Fortunately, we have Rowan and Jason to sort of pick it up, but obviously the premise of the movie's ridiculous. Taking a horror icon like Jason into space is just on the surface is absurd, and I mean, let's face it, it's a money making gimmick. That's what at this point of the franchise, that's really what they were trying to do because they really had nowhere else to go that was original. Um, so yeah, taking Jason into space 400 years into the future, take it what it's worth. Don't take it seriously. Um, I really didn't like Jason's look, and I'm not talking about Uber Jason as the cyborg towards the end of the film, which is really only the last 20-25 minutes of the film. Most of the film, he's in his traditional Jason garb, which is, of course, the hockey mask. The mask was okay, but I didn't like his head. He's growing hair now. It looked like Kane Hodder to a certain extent, just with a mask on. I don't know why they can't have continuity with this. They have a template, and again, he doesn't have to look exactly the same for every movie, but I just really did not like his look in this movie with the hair that he's growing and blah. The attempts of humor in this movie fall completely flat, and I think a lot of that. I mean, they do have some nice little Easter eggs and nods to either previous Friday the 13th movies or other movies as well, like Star Trek and stuff. Can't you just beam us away and stuff? But they fall completely flat, and I think that's largely due to the bad characters that are trying to deliver them. Between the writing and the acting and just the dialogue, all three of those things make it so the jokes and the attempt at humor just are as flat as they've been in any Friday the 13th movie up to this point. Some of the worst dialogue written in any Friday the 13th movie. In fact, I think it is the worst. And I mean, there's been some other bad dialogue in other movies, don't get me wrong. But this movie's right up there, probably at the top. And then finally, I got to talk about the setting. Well, I enjoy the fact that they took this movie out of the traditional settings and gave us a new setting in space. I don't think the space settings and the space station settings, they're a little too neon looking, a little too odd looking. And as other people have mentioned, it looks like a sci-fi channel original movie or something that you would see, as opposed to sort of a dark um, image of space that we sometimes get. This was just a little too dressed up, a little too pretty, if you will. And I don't think that works as well as it could have if they had a more of a dreary space look. So yeah, very mixed bag. That's my thoughts on Jason X. I have to be honest though, obviously it's not a great movie in terms of being wonderfully made or directed or certainly acted or written. But I enjoy it. It's entertaining. And I think you just have to go in with the right mindset with it. And that's basically to invite some friends over with a bowl of popcorn and a couple of beers and watch it on a Friday or whatever night and not take it seriously. And if you do that, I think you can have a rousing good time with it. But that being said, as I said, it's not a well made movie, but we're up to the 10th movie in the franchise. I don't really know what else people expected. They could have done some things better, but again, I enjoyed Rowan as a final girl. I enjoyed Jason and the fact that they tried something different. And the kills are really good and make the movie more than watchable, in my opinion. So I'm going to give this movie a 7 out of 10. Jason X. I know I've given a lot of movies in this franchise a 7 out of 10. Partially, so you have to tune into my ranking video in a few days here at the end of the August to see how I rank them. But 7 out of 10 for Jason X. It's worth a watch. I like it well enough for what it is. So go ahead and give me your thoughts down below, guys, in the comments section. Tell me what you think of Jason X. Please like this video and hit the little notification bell to see when my next videos are going to drop. And stay tuned and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for the upcoming Friday the 13th movie reviews as well as other standalone movie reviews. And of course, my ranking at the end of the month. I think I'm also going to do a ranking video of all the final girls for the Friday the 13th series. I'm going to drop that before the end of the month as well. I've seen some other people do that, and it just kind of looks like a fun thing to do. And yeah, the final girls are obviously important in this franchise, so stay tuned for two ranking videos at the end. One of all the movies ranked, and one of all the final girls from all the movies. So, thanks for checking out this video. Have a great day. Bye.